everybody. Solar plexus time. What to do with our personal power. How to engage our will. Willpower is always an interesting concept because it's a self-discipline. So self-discipline is something that, how do you respond to get yourself to do things that you don't really want to do? Right. But willpower goes in both ways. So a great training that I received about willpower and developing your willpower is that every day you want to do one thing that you don't want to do. It's like make yourself do it. And then to refrain from doing one thing that you want to do that you know is not really good for you. So to unpack that a little bit, I hate cleaning the bathroom. It's like it's my least favorite chore of anything, particularly because I live with boys. And, I don't pee on the floor. It's like that's just something that why should I have to clean up your urine when I, sit? So it's like how about you clean that? Why do I have to deal with cleaning up other people's messes when I don't have to engage in that? So it's frustrating, and I know if I don't want to live in filth and I don't want to live in a, urine smelling bathroom like a subway station, then I need to be the one to do that. So how much do I really want to get involved, get engaged in this conflict over just having to deal with that? And then can I just make myself do it instead of complaining or like trying to get them to do something different? I mean, obviously, when they were smaller, it was a little bit, more challenging. Or actually, when they were smaller, I just made them sit down. And then my ex-husband was like, you're going to make them into, girls if they're sitting down to pee. What do you mean? Like making them into girls as in not peeing all over the floor? Yeah, okay. Well, and then if that's a girl thing, then that's great. I think that's something I'd like to do. But when they, obviously they saw their father standing and then, okay, I want to be like daddy. And then, okay, well, that's also part of the issue. So when we see that, I could make it a big deal. I could make it a problem. I could complain about it. I could talk about it, or I just clean the bathroom and I kind of get over it. And that's something that with my willpower, I really didn't think that was something that I needed to explore. Why don't you just not pee on the floor? It was something that I just kept trying to get. But at the end of the day, pick your battles. You live with children, you live with boys, you live with men. This is what's just kind of going to be part of the issue. So, all right, I pick my battle and I just get over it and I clean the bathroom and I don't excessively complain about it. Just like every time, the seat is up. It's like I'm the only female in the house and yet it's like the seat should be down. I put the seat, it's like put the seat down, please just put the seat down. I just put it down. I'm not going to complain now. I mean, really, it's like I am outnumbered. I honestly understand that. I mean, yes, I'm the one that pays all the bills. So I'm kind of like, hey, maybe you should just put that seat down because the queen requests it. Or I should say demands it. But again, what am I going to do with my willpower? I'm not going to complain about it. I take the seat, I put it down. That's just something that I need to engage with on a regular basis. And I don't want to waste my energy over it anymore. Something that I refrain from that I know I want to do it, but I shouldn't do it, is like eat the entire bag of Tate's gluten-free double chocolate cookies. I know I want to, I know I could in like a hot second and feel great at the end of it. Should I do that? No. Do I want to do that? Yes. Can I have 2 cookies instead? Sure. So I made myself, I don't deny myself completely, but I just curtailed myself just enough. That's a lot of progress because for somebody who used to eat, like, you don't just eat a cookie or a few or a serving. When you get Girl Scout cookies and you get Thin Mints, I don't eat a few, you eat the sleeve. It's like that's how much it's like when you get Samoas, you don't eat 1 or 2, you eat the row, and then there's like, well, how many rows did you eat? Well, there's only 4 rows in a box, so 2 rows in a sitting, I don't know, that's like just what I would do. And a bag of chips, a pint of ice cream. Well, it's personal size for a reason. You hold it in your hand, therefore you eat the whole thing. So I would just not stop myself from doing any of these things before my practice really established. And I was very, I gave myself permission. No, you just give yourself permission. It's fine. I don't need to explain this to anybody. I don't need to stop. I'm fine. At some point, I realized that maybe I had a little bit of a portion control issue, and I wanted to stop. So how do I do that? If I went the opposite direction and I told myself that I was like really bad and wrong for wanting ice cream ever, and I tried to go cold turkey, and I would say, oh, well, I would go to extremes. Well, I'm either letting myself completely eat whatever I want whenever I feel like it, or I'm denying myself completely of all of it. And then if I fall off the wagon at all, see, I'm weak, I'm a terrible person, I can't do this anyway, so why bother trying at all? And then I would overindulge and binge again, and then just kind of repeat that shame cycle of feeling like I was weak and that I just had no power to do anything different anyway, so why bother trying? It's an opposite with our willpower. There is this way that we can give ourselves permission to not change completely into the end result that we want, but to give ourselves like baby steps. So when I finally stopped saying, well, it's not that I can't have any ice cream, but I have to sit down and have a portion of ice cream. What's a portion? Okay, well, then I had to start, really controlling it. In the beginning, I couldn't have it around. In the beginning, I really, no, I just can't buy it. So I just wouldn't buy any of those things whatsoever. And if I was out at a restaurant, well then, okay, if I was out at a party, okay, I can have this if it's at a party. I can have this dessert at a restaurant. I can have it. I gave myself permission to have it in external places. But if I was home and just sitting on the couch, it couldn't be around me. I didn't have the willpower for that initially. Now I can do that. I can actually have, last night I had taught all weekend. I had a teacher training immersion. It was a lot of energy. I was really exhausted. It's been, and that's at the end of one of those weekends. You would think, well, if there's ever a time to give myself permission to eat the whole bag of Tate's cookies, it's now. I can do that, and I could be totally justified in that, and I could have, but I didn't. I took out the cookies and I looked at them and I said, yeah, I had 2 today already, right, when we were together. And I said, I'd like more. I'll sit. I'll wait. Let me eat dinner first and then see how I feel about that. And then I didn't have another one. It was like, oh, I'll save that for tomorrow. It's like, good girl, progress, and I have to say that that took me a really long time to come to. But when you have a practice of this, of observing what it is that you can do with your willpower, you have to give yourself baby steps to this, which is also why if you're trying to break any big habit, especially, lifelong habits, it doesn't matter what kind of, refinement you're trying to do. If it's quitting smoking, or if it's, quitting codependency, or if it's, quitting being hyper emotionally reactive, it's like you have to give yourself some space to grow in a way that makes sense. There are very few people who can really do cold turkey well. It really is a particular type of energy of a person, and they're usually extreme in a lot of ways. So we might look at those people who can do that and like make these radical changes in their life and cut out everything all of a sudden and think, wow, that's what willpower is. It's a form of extremism, so it's actually not like the ideal situation for most people. If you have that quality of a disposition, you can, but that's not something that we should say is the ideal, because it really is a form of extremism. In a lot of ways, when I finally gave myself permission to, well, that's going to take me longer. I don't really think that I can do that. For me to go down, I used to smoke a lot, and it was, well, if you can't quit cold turkey, then, you're just kind of like wasting your time. But at first it was like, well, maybe I'll go from smoking a pack a day to a half a pack a day. How long will that take? If I actually look at how many cigarettes that is and then really go and moderate it and look and see and then start taking out different associations for things and then start removing it and then get it down and down and down and down. I smoked 2 cigarettes a day for 2 years because that was what I needed to do. I understood it. And then I remembered when I finally got it down to that, and I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. It's not an addiction anymore, because it isn't. 2 cigarettes a day is not an addiction. It's a habit. Do I still want this habit? Is it still something that I feel like I need? Yes. Okay. That's it. That's all. I feel like it's something that I still need. My teacher Dharma, and he's in his late 70s at this point, and he tells the story all the time about when he first started yoga, and he's a pretty extreme yogi. This is a guy who has lived a very extreme lifestyle in terms of renunciation. When you really, he was a swami in the order. So when that happens, it's like you have no personal possessions. You are giving yourself completely over to a guru they are telling you what to do with your energy all the time. You have to completely give your will over to this person, and they are telling you how to live your life. He was in the order, and he was saying, I still struggled with smoking. He said, I smoked cigarettes, and I was embarrassed and ashamed, and I kept trying. No matter how much willpower I had, I still had this energy, and I still had to do this. And I would go to my guru and say, I don't know why it's so hard. Why is this so hard? And he said, well, it's your karma. When your karma is done, you will be able to break it easily. That's all there is. Wait until when your karma's burned through, you'll be able to let that go. It's not a problem. Release it. Stop being so upset about it. I said, okay, fine. He said, and I would hide. He said, I would smoke a cigarette and then, rub mint leaves on my hands and rub it on my face and try to keep myself from smelling around my students because I was so worried that they were going to judge me and be afraid. But here he was. He's telling this story about how, well, when my karma was ready and when I was ready to break it, I did. And that's it. I don't smoke anymore. Done. He said, but I gave myself permission, and so did my guru. Everybody, we have these levels of refinement. You're not supposed to be perfect. Most of us do not have monastic integrity like that you can just say, never again. Most of us do not have that. So where are you with your willpower? Where are you with something that you'd like to see different? Where are you with a habit that's taken a long time, to change? Where are you in your relationship to the progress that you make? Are you giving yourself permission to be grateful for what you were able to do so far? I struggle with certain things. I was a food addict, and I still really, really, really enjoy food, and I don't think I'll ever be a vegan because of that. I said, butter, cheese. I mean, it's bad enough I gave up beef and pork. It's bad enough I haven't had my mother's meatballs, in 6 years. It was how do you do that? I don't say never, though. I don't say that I'll never explore that. I just know it's not now, and that's okay, because I know that that's not a part of my constitution at the moment. And I give myself permission to eat the cookie and not feel like a spiritually immature human being. I have a lot of willpower now. The fact that I can have those cookies in my house and not destroy the bag just in 5 seconds is progress. It's that's progress to me. And are you giving yourself permission then to celebrate what it is that you can do now? What form of your discipline are you really, here to approach? And if we think about it in that term, if you have goals with your practice or you have goals in your life, are you realistic about how long it's going to take you? Are you attached to the specific result of how long it's going to take you to get there? Do you think that if you get there over the course of a year versus 6 months versus 2 weeks, that you're bad or wrong somehow? We let go of all of the timeline association, divine timing and your karma, all of that. You really don't know how long it's going to take to do some of these things. And if you really think about it on a physical perspective, most of us do not think that our tight hamstrings should open up in a particular period of time. It's we wouldn't say, oh, I have these tight hips. They should be open by now. It's we don't really think about it like that. We think about it but our habits, we think we should be able to break that easily. But with our physical bodies or other people, this is another aspect of it. You may have lower expectations or be way more accommodating and forgiving or tolerant or patient to other people than you are to yourself. I am very supportive of how long it takes for other people to change, but I think that I should be changing faster. Well, I know better, so I should really be over this by now. Careful. It's like the shoulds. It's like, and I love the way, don't should all over yourself. Just let it go. If there's something that we can do, is stop berating ourselves or criticizing. It's this energy of thinking that you should be somewhere other than you are right now. What are you going to do with your energy in this moment? Well, can we try to do something different? Am I going to shut down completely, or am I just going to, give up? Or it's like, or am I going to push through and then become overly aggressive? So figure out. That's where the physical practice will then manifest itself in a lot of different ways. The deeper twists that we're exploring this month, you really want to work into. That's kind of like the cleansing aspect of solar plexus, is to kind of clear and rinse out. The opposite end of that is then to really connect to this deep strength of this will, and it's uncomfortable. There's just a lot of discomfort that comes with engaging that quality of energy, unless you're really willful. If you've been really willful in the past and you know that that's like you are, kind of run in that extreme, then this month isn't going to be that hard for you. But then for you, it might be on the opposite end. It's like learning how to let things go, not being in control so much all the time, exploring the opposite end of it. If you're a very controlling person and you like to have things in a very particular way, and your environment needs to be a very specific way, and people need to respond to you in a very specific way, then we need to start reflecting on the opposite end of it, and to become a little bit more accommodating, a little bit more fluid, a little bit more flexible. That will take more power for you this month than firing up, if you are one of those personalities. So it's a balance of things, and that's what we're going to explore today. Do one thing that you don't want to do, and refrain from doing one thing that you really shouldn't do. And that's how that's going to show up for you is totally different. Maybe it's taking a break when you don't want to. Maybe it's not taking a break when you want to. So it's like your personality will require something different. Maybe it's digging a little bit deeper and exploring the intensity of it. Maybe it's saying, I'm so used to intensity that I have to just explore doing less. That would be more powerful than engaging more. So find what it is for you, and then really then start to explore. How else can you do this in the rest of your life? What can you do with the rest of your day? What can you do with this energy of relationship? What do you always do in terms of conflict? I am exploring right now, because I am such a verbal processor, and that is my gift and talent, is really to explore. I know how to articulate my feelings and figure out how to communicate and express them. But it's also because of that, I tend to need to have myself be heard. Like that's an imperative for me. You need to hear where I'm coming from. And if I'm in conflict with somebody, then that can create more problems, because it brings this kind of drama into my sphere more, because of this need that I have to express myself. I'm exploring the opposite. Oh, well, what does it mean to just let this person do what it is that they're doing? I don't need to say anything. They're not going to change. The situation isn't going to change. Nothing is going to be changed by them hearing me. I know that they can't receive it right now. It's not where I need to be. It's hard. It's very, very hard to keep it to yourself when you know that there's something that you want to express. So that's been my practice, is pulling in. For other people, it's going to be pushing out. So just explore your opposite. Explore what it is that you want to do, what's your normal go-to, and let's cultivate some of the opposite so that we can really connect to our deeper willpower. So let's close our eyes and come inside if you haven't done so already, acknowledging and noticing if we have any feelings up around what it is that you've heard. What do you also feel in connection to your gut? What your gut tells you, your gut instincts, and very really this physical area of your body. Are we numb? Do we feel disconnected? Do we feel empowered? Do we feel a little shame? Especially for body image issues. I find that this area of the body is fraught with not enoughness or too muchness. So can we feel into that quality of attention And then bathe yourself in just acceptance for what is in this moment. As you root down through the seat but lift up, really feel your sternum lightly tracking upwards and give your navel a gentle hugging back toward the spine. This will help to keep you connected to your core throughout your practice. Unhinge the jaw. Really allow the top of the head to softly open. And you feel your hands resting wherever they are. I feel the warmth and safety of yourself. Grounded connection to your body. Scanning for any areas of tension, chronic issues, pain. What's our normal response? Can we do something different? Or at least invite some awareness of the opposite. Start to connect to your deep, slow breath, inhaling, really flooding through the body. Exhale, gush it out. Letting go. A couple times just like that. If you'd like to energize it more with sound, please do. One more time. And then connect to your deep Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi is that oceanic sound constricting the back of the throat on the inhales and exhales, and it will directly stimulate your Agni, digestive fire. Helps you to process and burn through. If you do feel that throughout the practice you're starting to heat up, especially as it gets warmer in the environment, if you need to cool down, then let go of your Ujjayi breathing for a little while. We'll set our collective intentions to strengthen our individual willpower, to refrain from doing one thing that we want to do, and to engage in one thing that we don't want to do. On opposite ends, we know that it's good for us. We'll stretch our capacity to engage with our will more consciously. We open the practice by chanting Om 3 times together. Inhale deeply for Om.